Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where in the world you're joining us from. My name is Ciaran Heavey. I'm an associate professor here at the Quinn School of Business, the Lachlan Quinn School of Business, and I'm delighted that you've taken the time to join us for our international webinar today. Today, we're going to introduce you to some of our core programs in the Quinn School. We're going to do a deep dive into the Bachelor of Commerce. You're also going to have the opportunity to meet our some of our students, our present students, and they'll share their perspectives of what it's like being a Quinn student and their experience so far in the program. So I'm delighted to be joined, next slide, by my colleagues at the Quinn School of Business, our international student coordinator, Emily Cassidy, who is the point of contact for all of our international students. And of course, I'm delighted to be joined by three of our students: Kristen Anthony, who's on our BSc in Business, a final year student; Omar Pred, who is a second year Business and Law student; and then Wenri Lee, who is a second year Commerce student. And they'll talk shortly about their unique perspectives on the program. So first question is always going to be, why pursue a career in business? Why is it a good time to do a degree in business? Of course, there's a lot of attention at the moment focused on artificial intelligence. And I think there's never been a better time to do a business degree. Because if we think about it, the rules of business are being rewritten at the moment. If we consider advances in artificial intelligence, they are providing enormous opportunities for new business models, for new ways of organizing, for new ways of creating value. We truly are in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution where I think it's never been as exciting to be in a business school. And certainly in terms of the skills, next slide, that we need for the future. Yes, AI and big data, you need those, core skills. But if we look at what the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum predicted as being the fastest growing skills by 2030, they include skills like creative thinking, which is one of the skills we teach on the programs, resilience, flexibility, and agility. I think that is a skill that you're preparing when you come to business school, not just for one career, but probably for at least five different careers in your lifetime. Leadership and social influence, the ability to manage people, that is what's going to be the game changer in the years to come. Where AI will displace some technical skills, the ability to lead, and the ability to lead with impact and persuade others and interact effectively with others is going to be a skill that's prized. And again, that is a skill that we teach across all of our programs in the Quinn School. And of course, skills like, talent management and analytical thinking. Of course, there's a lot of fear at the moment that AI is going to replace a lot of the jobs that graduates previously would have applied for. The data doesn't bear that out yet. Although the job market has been more difficult in the last couple of years, the evidence indicates that in the sectors, particularly graduate sectors, that are most susceptible to automation, there's also this phenomenon of augmentation taking place, where AI is being used to augment people's skills and augment their tasks, such that you spend more time on higher value added analytical thinking and strategic thinking than on operational tasks. And so it frees you up to be more creative and to spend more time leading. So I think the future is still very, very bright for the graduate job market. And I think turning to the Quinn School of Business, we have always had excellent outcomes in terms of the labour market. We are located in the epicenter of the technology industry. 16 of the top information and technology companies have European operations in Dublin. You can see here on the map, LinkedIn, Amazon, IBM, Alphabet, they all have significant presence. We have the big four, which have traditionally been a very important source of jobs for our graduates. We have the technology companies. Of course, we have the International Financial Services Center. And all of these create an abundance of opportunity. And as one of the biggest universities as the biggest university in Ireland and one of the biggest universities in Europe, we have a very strong alumni base in these companies. And so that provides corporate linkages that can be used for internship programs, that can be used for mentorship, and that ultimately provide a lot of job opportunities. So I think Dublin and Ireland is a very attractive place to study. And I suppose the next question would be, why study at the Quinn School? And I think there's a lot of reasons. I think number one is our strong industry connections, is the fact that we serve as a pathway, a springboard to many of these job opportunities. We are number one in Ireland for employment outcomes. I've been teaching on the BCom for 15 years, and I have never come across a student who comes to me at the end of the academic year and says, Ciaran, I can't get a job. Usually the conversation I'm having with students is whether they take a job or a master's program or how they select among competing offers. So the graduate outcomes are very, very strong. We have a global alumni network throughout the world. So that gives you a passport, not just to the local Dublin market, but there are very strong and established chapters in all the major North American cities, in all the major Asian cities, and indeed throughout Europe and throughout the world. And I think the reason that we have been successful beyond our industry connections is the fact that we invest a lot in terms of career planning. And we also provide a transformational learning experience. So the classroom you'll see behind me here in the image is a lecture hall. And you might expect that most of your learning will take place in a lecture hall. That's not true. If we go on to the next slide, our building is very much attuned to the needs of our students. And it's like a workplace. There are lots of collaborative working spaces. There's lots of places for teamwork. We have recording studios for podcasts. We have a lot of functional spaces. That means that the building operates much more like a workplace than it does like a center of learning. And of course, you'll attend lectures, but a lot of the learning takes place outside of the classroom. It takes place working on things like simulations. In our very first year on the BCom program and in the final year, students compete in a very immersive business simulation where they run a company for the duration of a trimester. And I think that gives them realistic business skills, realistic business insights as well. Going back a slide, I think it's also important to say that you are getting an academic pedigree when you complete a degree at UCD. We enjoyed the Triple Crown of accreditation, which is the three types of accreditation for business schools: AMBA, which is associated with MBAs, AACSB, which is the North American accreditation, and then EQUIS, which is the European accreditation. We are also a member of elite global networks, most notably the SEMS Alliance and the Global Network of Advanced Management, which is led by Yale University. And so these networks provide you with opportunities throughout your period of study. So let me move from the school to some of the programs that you might be interested in, and we might just review some of those programs. So we have 5 major programs in the Quinn School. We have Commerce and BSc in Business, which follow a very similar curriculum, but are slightly different. Commerce is a generalist degree with the opportunity to specialize in the final year of study. Very similarly, BSc in Business is a generalist degree, but with more of a global business focus. We then have Commerce International, which is commerce with a language. So you spend about 50% of your degree on business and 50% of your degree specializing in an international language. That could be French, could be German, it could be Mandarin, it could be, a variety of different languages that you can specialize in. And it includes a 1 year abroad in a country of your choice, studying business through that language. We also have the economics and finance degree. This is a very specialized degree that is focused on preparing you for a career in banking, finance, with a very strong quantitative foundation in mathematics, statistics, and econometrics. So it's a much more focused degree. It's a smaller program. Typically we have fewer students in that program, so the points tend to be higher, but it is an excellent program as well. And then, of course, we have the Bachelor of Business Studies in Business and Law, which is a combination of business and legal education. That's a 4 year program. It also includes a trimester exchange. The other thing to say about commerce is that there is the opportunity for an internship here. That's true also of the BSc in business. So you can choose to spend a year in an internship working with a company or working with a social enterprise. It's a paid internship, and you do that between your third and your final year of study. Also, in commerce and BSc business, you do have the opportunity to spend a semester abroad. That is in the second semester of the academic year, second semester of the second year, actually. Just backtracking a bit, just to talk a little bit about the learning environment in the Quinn School, if we go back. So I think you get the academic excellence. I think the faculty that you will be taught by are excellent. They are thought leaders in their fields. They have a lot of practical experience too. But perhaps most importantly, you're going to learn by doing, action learning. The simulations that I mentioned is a prime example of this. So it's not just learning in lecture halls or studying textbooks, although that does feature. It is learning through maybe building a website, maybe doing a simulation. We use also a lot of case studies. So the idea is to build your skills through experience and also through giving you exposure to challenging experiences that will push you outside of your comfort zone and that will really help you to develop your skill set. And I think that's why we have been successful in the job market, is because our curriculum is very much modeled after the real world job market and gives you the types of skills that you need to hit the ground running in the job market. And I think the internship is a big part of that. So we might just do a deep dive into the commerce program and just talk a little bit about the commerce program and what you will cover. And there will be a good degree of overlap here with the BSc in business. So in the first year of commerce, you will do a variety of subjects, and all of these are pretty much core modules, which means you have to take them. If we look at the range of subjects, we have organizational behavior, maths for business, management. We take a big focus or have a big focus on business and society that looks at the complex fabric of the relationship between business and the societal obligations of business. We have a module on effective learning and development, which helps you prepare for university learning. We have business law. And then, of course, we have accountancy, economics, digital business, statistics, and the business management simulation, which really ties the first year all together. And then you have one elective module. In the second year of the program, you'll continue with your introduction to the various functional disciplines in business, but you gain more opportunities to specialize through your elective and your business options. And then when you get into the final year of the program, you really have the opportunity to specialize in an area of your own interest. So you will have some core modules in business strategy. You'll develop a personal and professional development portfolio. You'll do human resource management and a bit of entrepreneurship. But ultimately, in the final year, it is up to you to choose a selection of modules that meet your career interests. And this is the real opportunity for you to say, look, I'm really interested in finance, or I really want to go down the accountancy route, or maybe you want to combine areas like data analytics and marketing, which is a very popular choice nowadays. If we backtrack a little bit, in the second year, you have the opportunity to spend a semester abroad. And these are not just hardship posts. These are some of the best universities in the world. We have a very strong network of about 30 universities that we work with throughout the world. And you'll see these names are very recognizable in Singapore, SMU, in Copenhagen, Copenhagen Business School, in Canada, Simon Fraser. The top universities in Europe, in Canada, in Australia and New Zealand. And this gives you the opportunity to really develop a global profile to your degree, to be able to claim in an interview that you have spent a semester surviving and studying in another country. You're also going to have another name on your CV, another university name on your CV that will differentiate you in the job market. That is the name of the game today. That is the single most important determinant of whether you get a job is your ability to differentiate yourself. And the Erasmus program is one example of that, where you get to study not just in UCD, but in one of our partner institutions. And then in the third year of the program, you have the opportunity for the internship. And this program has been running for about 13 years now. It started with about 50 students, and now we have many, many more, 275 plus students now complete the internship across our various programs. Instead of going in directly to final year, you will spend a year working on an internship. It's a 9 to 12 month paid internship. This is an option for commerce, BSc in business, and economics and finance. We've placed 2,100 students since 2013. Nearly 85% of eligible students complete an internship. And we have a lot of top employers in the program. And about a third of those who complete the internship come back with a return offer, which makes their final year a lot easier. And I have to say, it's a transformational experience. It gives you the opportunity to develop professional skills, whether that's in the area of accounting or finance or marketing. And you come back with a much more mature attitude. You come back with experience. And even if you don't get a return offer, you are typically a lot more competitive on the job market than without an internship. And of course, many of our students, even if they do this internship program, they may do summer internships on top of this. So those are additional opportunities that you have within this program. And so that, in a nutshell, is the commerce program. And I think what differentiates it, both locally but also globally, is that it's one of the few programs where you have the opportunity to both study abroad but also complete an internship. And I think that's a real opportunity to differentiate yourself. And as I mentioned, in final year, you have a lot of options to specialize. We have 6 different subject areas. We have a wide variety of option modules. So, for example, here are the ones in management information systems, things like cryptocurrencies, digital innovation, decision analytics. You can also specialize in, marketing. That might include things like consumer psychology, and the use of analytics to enhance our knowledge of consumer psychology, responsible marketing, brand management, and so forth. So there's a lot of option and a lot of scope to really specialize and develop your skills. And of course, let me conclude by just talking about the outcomes. I mean, I think we have historically had very strong outcomes in the program in terms of employment. 99% of graduates are, employed or within a program of further study within 6 months of graduation. That's really an excellent outcome. And UCD is ranked number one in Ireland for employment outcomes, by QS University rankings. So I think that is what you look for in a program. You look for the experience, you look for the differentiators, and you look for the outcomes. And so, with that in mind, I'm going to pass you on to my colleague Emily, who will in turn introduce our student panelists, who will give you a first-hand account of their experience on the program.
Thank you so much, Ciaran, for that wonderful, comprehensive overview of the Quinn School of Business and our undergraduate academic program. So before I introduce you to our students, I just want to tell you a little bit more about the graduate outcomes. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, our graduates end up all over the place. After graduation. So if you're considering studying with us, you may be wondering about your job prospects. So on the slide, you can see the top 10 employers for the College of Business this year, where some of the usual big consulting firms like KPMG, PwC, EY, Deloitte, Grant Thornton, but then also graduates also end up in Google, Amazon, Aer Lingus, which is an airline, Apple Green, and the Central Bank of Ireland. So the options are really limitless. Next slide, please. So these are just some images of a few of our recent graduates who completed their studies with us this past year. So on the top row here, you can see Neve Ryan. She was originally from the United States. She studied BSc Business with us, and now she's working for Disney as a marketing coordinator. Xander, the student beside her, studied economics and finance, and he ended up founding his own AI startup. And then a few of the students on the bottom row, Temi, he completed an internship with Microsoft, and he now is working for Microsoft full-time as a financial analyst. Kanishta is from India. She's actually in Deloitte. She's still in Dublin working for Deloitte in assurance. And then students also go on to complete further studies, master's degrees or PhDs. But these two students here on the bottom right of the screen, they've gone on to complete studies in finance and then also in statistics and sustainability. So it really depends on your interests and what you would like to do after graduation. Next slide, please. And I know that Ciaran mentioned the internship program as one of our main career supports, but that's just one of the career supports that we offer to students. So in addition to the internship program, we have our Quinsights program, which are insight days for stage one or first year students. So students have the opportunity in their first year to go visit the offices of some of our partnering employers. In stage two, students can also go on a London finance study trip. So they'll go over to London for 3 or 4 days and visit the big financial firms like Investec and Grant Thornton. Also in stage two, students can opt to participate in our alumni mentoring program. And one of our students in just a few minutes is going to tell you more about that. So in addition to all of these supports that we have, of course, we have our vast UCD career network and our business alumni network. We have more than 100,000 business alumni located all over the world. So no matter where you end up after graduation, you can be assured that another business alum won't be too far from you. Next slide, please. These are just some images of our recent Insight Days. So you can see some students recently visited the offices of Microsoft, AIB, which is a bank here in Ireland. And then we have an image here from our most recent London finance consulting trip. Next slide, please. So you may be wondering too about the scholarships that we have available. So if you're a student who is residing in China or South Asia, I believe you still have time to apply for the Global Excellence Scholarship. I believe the deadline is March 31st. If you're a student in the North America region or the Middle East, unfortunately, your deadline has already passed, but we do have other entry scholarships available, such as our international student scholarships. So at the time that your application is assessed by the UCD Global Admissions team, you may be offered an international student scholarship based on your documents that you upload, your exam results, and how well you've done in your studies in your secondary school. And also, once you become a student within the Quinn School, you will be eligible to be considered for some of our stage and scholarship awards. So for students who finish at the top of their class or at the top of a certain module, they'll receive a small prize, and they'll be invited to attend our annual scholarships and awards ceremony. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the last slide, I promise, before I bring our students on. So I just want to go over our entry pathways first. So if you are still considering UCD and you haven't applied yet, there are a few different pathways you can consider. Of course, there's our UCD direct application, but there's also our liberal arts and sciences program. So this is great for students who may not know what they'd like to study yet. So if you know you want to come to UCD, but you're uncertain as to which program to choose, this is a brilliant option for you because you take general ed classes your first 2 years, and then after those 2 years, you can progress into the program of your choice. And for the business school, you can come into either commerce or BSc business. We also have many students who come in through our study group international foundation year. So study group is located just a 10-minute walk from campus, and students actually live in UCD accommodation while they're studying with study group. They take business-related courses, and then after they successfully progress from that program, they come into the Quinn School. And one of our study group graduates is actually going to speak in just a few moments too. And finally, we also have in-country foundation programs too. Um, all right, so without further ado here, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our student panelists today. So if you all could turn on your cameras, please. Today we are joined by Kristen, Omar, and Wenri. It would be great if you all could please introduce yourselves, just tell us what you're studying, where you're from, and why you decided to study that program here in UCD. And Kristen, we might start with you first.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Emily. So, as you saw on the slide, my name is Kristen. I'm from Seattle, Washington. And the reason why I chose UCD and the BSc business degree specifically is honestly not that exciting. I just did a quick Google search as to the top universities of Ireland, and I was like, oh, Trinity, okay, cool. And I'm like, no, that's not for me. And so I applied to UCD, got in, and the rest is history, as they say. But specifically business degree. So I'm a mature student, so I actually come from a business background. So I've worked at other companies beforehand before coming here, and it just kind of felt like the right fit for what I'm hoping to do with my career.
Great, thank you, Kristen.
Uh,
Omar, would you
I'll,
like to go
yeah,
next?
I'll go. So my name is Omar. I'm half Italian and half Moroccan, but I grew up in Hong Kong. I'm studying business and law, and I'm in my second year. The main reason why I wanted to study business and law is because I really like the mix between like the more structured approach of studying law, and the more laissez-faire approach when it comes to studying business. I liked the mix, and I thought that they were two subjects that paired very well together, both, in terms of when you're studying it, but career-wise as well, in terms of like the different careers that you can get or the different perspectives that law offers you with regards to business.
Hello, I'm Weiri. I'm from China and I study commerce in UCD. And now I'm on exchange in Hong Kong right now. I choose commerce because I was interested in business, but I didn't want to limit myself too early to just one like very narrow area. You can get a strong foundation in business, but at the same time, you can explore different subjects and develop a like wider understanding of how business works. And for me, like commerce feel like a very balanced program, so that's why I choose that.
Thank you so much. Um, okay, Kristen, I have a question for you. So you're studying BSc Business, and as Ciaran was saying a few moments ago, so BSc Business and Commerce can be very similar. Can you tell us a little bit about the differences between the two programs?
Yeah, of course. So I was kind of just looking at what the classes that were have offered, and it seems like for me the main difference is between BSc Business, so my degree, and Commerce, is that business is more of a global, so it's typically geared towards international students, so Americans is what I normally see in my degree. And because we're kind of just America or this international, we don't really get that global aspect. So we have programs like Exploring Your Host Country. So I get to learn more about Ireland and its history. We actually got to go to museums. So we got to go to the Epic Irish Immigration Museum, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I wouldn't have been able to go really or know about it unless I'd actually been exploring the city, things to look for. So it was really nice to go as a group. And other things like business in the European Union. So we actually had to do classwork on actual like how those intricacies for how they work as a global interface in other international markets. So
Yeah, thank you so much. And we might pull our PowerPoint slides up again because I know you sent me some wonderful pictures recently. So, Kristen, yeah, you're a final year student and you've been
mhm,
involved in quite a few extracurricular activities and programs throughout your time with us.
mhm.
Um, Now, could you tell us a bit about this trip to Egypt?
Yeah, so fun fact, they're actually just coming back from this trip. So this year is the second year of them doing this. So it is typically usually reserved for master students. So this is the first time that they ever like offered it to undergrad students. So it was really cool to be a part of it. Aoife Dontry, I think is her last name. So she's the lady in the sunglasses with the orange strap. She is absolutely phenomenal. If you do come to UCD, definitely seek her out because she's one of the best humans. But basically, for this classical, we are going to the American University in Cairo, and there's no affiliations between them, unfortunately, like the other universities that are similar named that I found out. But we were basically talking about business in the Middle East. So it was just more of going to other businesses like Mercedes. There was another one that I cannot remember the name, unfortunately, but they did like tea and other like fun things. We also went to a Nestle plant, like and so it was a really cool like thing to do. And we were only there for a week. We did a couple of cultural things, as you can see. So like, we went to the pyramids. We had dinner on the Nile, which is the other photo there. So it was a really amazing experience. So.
Yes. So this trip, it was called doing business in the Middle East, and this was the first year that we offered this in the Quinn School of Business, and it was introduced mainly to help students who didn't really have the opportunity to go on exchange for a full semester. And Kristen, you are already kind of studying abroad from the US and Ireland, right? But this was, yeah, a wonderful opportunity for you to go for a week to Egypt. So yeah, I'm so glad you got a chance to do that. And could you tell us about another extracurricular program or activity that you have been involved in?
Well, so the school as a general does a lot of extracurriculars. So for this one example, I did UCD VO, which is University College Dublin Volunteer Overseas. It's a very long title. And basically it is exactly what it sounds like. You volunteer overseas. So not in the US, not in like Europe usually. There were a couple of different groups. Typically they're more geared towards students that are part of nursing or part of engineering. But as a business student, I just kind of was able to go to anywhere. And one of the places that they offered me to go to was Uganda. So I worked with a company called EcoBricks, and they basically use recycled bottles and they build product. So they have obviously bottles are in there are two different types. So you have the lids, which are hard plastics, and then regular bottles, which are soft plastics. And so they grind up the soft plastics and they resell them back to companies abroad. But then they use the bottles to build product. So things like cups, planter boxes, things like that. We actually built the first ever public park in Masaka, and so it was a really great experience for that. And one thing that I really found interesting about just EcoBricks in general is that they have 50% deaf people. And so as their employees, and I was really excited because that's kind of where my background comes from. And so yeah, it was really a great experience. So I was there for a month. Um, and yeah, so it was really great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kristen. Um, Omar. So Omar is actually, he's one of our UCD Global Guides. So if you happen to visit UCD, you might be lucky and have him as your tour guide around campus. So Omar, I know you recently participated in our alumni mentoring program. Is that right? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Alumni Mentoring Program is a program open to all business students in their second year. So normally you apply in the first semester, and during in the application you essentially speak about like what are your interests, where do you want to go within business. So for example, I know some people who were very vague because they're not too sure, so they just wanted some exposure from people who have already worked in business. And I know people, myself included, who were a bit more certain about what they wanted to do. And so they were able to be very specific. And I got very lucky. I got partnered with a lady. Her name is Kelly Edwards. She's a partner at Bain and Company, which is one of the big strategy consulting firms in the world. And essentially, I get to first of all, I get introduced with her, and that's a very big thing. And on top of that, we have meetings. It depends on the availability of your mentor. For example, my one is very busy, so we usually just do 1 hour long meetings every couple of weeks. I have my final one, I think next week. And we basically talk about anything. It can be what is it like being a consultant? How do you make it to that point in your career? And also like tips, for example, with your resume. These are very small things that can definitely affect your employability, but it's like you can't really do an entire class on your resume. So it's really nice to have a professional to take a look at it, give you advice, tell you where you're weak, where you're strong, what you should focus on more and just to give like a lot of insight on what the job is like because you can do as much research as you want online but just after my experience speaking with her and speaking with other professionals in the field it's nothing compared to actually having a person you can talk to and ask questions and learn from.
Wonderful. And I know that some of the students who have completed this program have stayed in touch with their mentors. So hopefully, Omar, you guys will stay in touch after this year as well. So if we could pull up our slides again there, I think we have a photo that you sent me recently. So you're involved in a few societies in UCD. Could you tell us about one of those, please?
Yeah, so you can see on the top left of that photo, the UCD Investors and Entrepreneurs Society. So I would say, in my opinion, this is the best like career-focused, business-focused society on campus. They do tons of events, tons of talks. They bring in industry professionals. I think recently we had someone from like the chief economist from JP Morgan in New York. He came down, he had a chat with like a panel discussion. And one of the things that they do that I incredibly enjoy are these case competitions. So in consulting, essentially you are trying to solve a problem for a business. And these competitions are like a simulation of those problems. So in this one in particular, we were helping ZipPay, which is a Irish brand. They do like online payments, and they recently just came out. Like they just entered the market, I think 2, 3 weeks ago. And we were developing a strategy to help them enter the market. So this was a competition. We started off within UCD, I think out of 20 teams. My team, as you can see, was one of the six that were selected to compete in the final at Deloitte. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was an incredible experience. I got to talk to tons of consultants at Deloitte. I got to get their feedback because this was my first time doing any actual work and creating a slide deck and all of that. And it's just an incredible opportunity to get that exposure. But beyond that, in the middle, like the top middle of that photo and the top right, you can see there's two groups, the Belfield Strategy Group and the ISCG, the Irish Student Consulting Group. So these two groups actually do work with real businesses. They are called client projects, where they will contact real businesses in Ireland or startups or whatever and speak to them and say like, hey, we have a team of students. If you would like any help, or like, are there any problems that we could solve for you, so on and so forth. And because of this opportunity, because of the experience I got here, I was lucky enough to be staffed on two projects for these two groups. So the one I'm working on with the ISCG right now is helping a Irish startup called Tally move into the US. So I think it's an incredible experience. I have calls with the CEO on a regular basis to talk to her, to give her advice, which I find incredible. It's crazy. It's almost surreal. And the other one, the Belfield Strategy Group, I'm doing a project with them as well to help. It's a company called Helios Saunas. It's an Irish company as well, and we're trying to help them enter a new market. So it's just incredible, and it's the opportunity to put, in-class theory, business knowledge into the real world and to really make a difference.
Wow, that does sound like an incredible opportunity. Thank you so much, Omar. And finally, Winry, I'd love to hear more about your exchange experience in Hong Kong. So you were there for the semester, is that right?
Yeah, for one semester. Yeah, I feel like the exchange in Hong Kong has like honestly been one of the best part of my university experience. Like, because I mean, Hong Kong is like a different environment to me, and I can see like different teaching style and academic culture, which was really refreshing to me. It also helped me look at like learning in a new way and made me more adaptable. And also outside of studying, I really loved my life and my time here too. I've met so many classmates from different backgrounds, and that make the whole experience a lot more fun and interesting. I've also really like enjoy exploring Hong Kong. Like the food is amazing, and I also love the city atmosphere. Yeah, so like overall, this exchange has helped me grow a lot, both in my like study and as a person.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Could we pull the slides up again, please? Because Winry, you had some stunning photos that you sent to me. Um, So just as a reminder, so the exchange opportunity is not guaranteed. It can be a competitive process. So Winry, can you tell me how many different universities did you apply for, and did you get your first choice?
I applied for around 5 or 6 universities,
Okay.
but the first choice is in Canada, but I didn't get my first choice. And the second one is the Chinese University of Hong Kong. I get
Okay.
this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done. Yes. So the selection process for exchange is based on your GPA. So it is important for students who know they want to go on exchange to really study hard their first year. So well done, Winry. I'm so glad you had this opportunity here. And another question that we do get sometimes is it possible to go on exchange and do the internship program? And that is possible. And Winry, you're currently applying for the internship program, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
UCD really helped me a lot about that. Like in UCD, we have the support to help preparing for like writing a CV or how to present ourselves more professionally in the interview. And I applied the internship through the school website. And after that, I received invitations. But since now I'm currently in Hong Kong right now, so my interview was like arranged online. That really helped me.
Wonderful. I'm so glad, yeah, the employers were able to accommodate that. So good luck with this whole selection process. Again, 98% of our students this past year who applied for the internship were successful in securing an internship placement. So yes, I'm really hoping it works out for you too, Winry. Now, Winry, you came into the Quinn School through the study group International Foundation year. So could you tell us a little bit more about the International Foundation year and what your transition was like coming into the Quinn School? Did you feel prepared academically?
Yeah, of course. Like in my experience in the foundation year, it was a really important starting point for me. It helped me adjust the university studies step by step, especially because I was entering a new like academic environment and a different like education system. It was not only about improving my English or academic English, but also about like building the confidence and getting used to the way university learning works. Some of the classes like academic English, financial accounting, microeconomics, yeah, and business analysis and so on, they were especially helpful because they develop skills like critical thinking and presentation, academic writing. And those skills became really useful when I moved to university study. So when I started the like degree program in UCD, the transition felt like much smoother because I already felt more prepared for the like expectations and workload from foundation year. Also, the foundation year helped me settle in socially. Like I met a lot of friends there, and I built connection with a lot of friends that made a huge difference. Because it helped me feel more comfortable and supported, and also I feel like I'm a part of the university community.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Winry. And we're
Thank
happy
you.
to have you here as well as Omar and Kristen. Okay, there's one last question I'd like to ask you all. Do you have any advice for prospective students thinking about coming to the Quinn School of Business? Kristen, we might start with you.
Ask me the hard question. I was trying to think. Um, so make sure to find a group to talk to. So go join societies, get out there, don't just stay in your room. I know it's nice as it usually is, but go talk to people, go to groups, talk to admin. Like I talk to Emily every couple of weeks. But yeah, go talk to people.
I think maybe I can answer or add on. I 100% agree with what Kristen said. Go talk to people. That's very important. Maybe if I could add my 2 cents, I would say try your best to have a plan or have an idea. You don't have to know what you want to do, but I think maybe it's better to have an idea or have a direction that you're going in as opposed to being aimless. And as important as having a plan is, you should also be like willing to change that plan. When I came into UCD, I wanted to do something very specific, and here I am trying to do something that wasn't that thing. So I think it's important that while you do have a direction, you should also keep your options open.
Wonderful. Yeah, be flexible.
Yeah, I would say stay open-minded and like really make the most of the experience in university because university life goes by really quickly, and also it's important to step out of your comfort zone to meet new people, to try new things. I'd also say like don't be afraid of asking for help because UCD has a lot of support, whether it's academic support or like career advice or just help settle in. And yeah, just don't be afraid of asking for help.
Thank you guys so much. I agree with all of that advice. Yet there are so many different programs and activities you can get involved in UCD. You just have to be like willing to get out of your comfort zone. It can be kind of intimidating coming over at first from your home country where you might not know anyone. But within the school, you know, we have, I think, 15% of our students are now international. So you're not the only one who's coming here to a foreign country. I think we are a very welcoming community. I hope you guys would agree with that. Yeah, good, good. Okay, so I'll just go over a few last next steps, but thank you so much to our students. So great to hear from all of you guys. Okay, so if we could pull up that last slide.
Sorry, Emily, I don't think I have the last slide.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so if you haven't yet submitted your application, please do so now. Once you submit your application and hopefully receive an offer and accept the offer, that's when you will receive information about your housing application for accommodation. So accommodation is not guaranteed, but international students are prioritized. But you still want to get that accommodation application in as soon as possible. So next, we would also recommend like asking questions and booking one-on-one meetings. So if you're a prospective international student with an offer to UCD, I have most likely been in contact with you and offered to meet with you over Zoom. So that's a great chance. If you have any other specific individual questions, I'm very happy to address those. We'd also advise you to attend in-person events. So according to your global center, there are going to be in-person events like in your global region. I know there's some North America accepted student events happening next week. It's a great opportunity for you to meet other prospective students who are hoping to come over to UCD next year. And finally, some useful resources are going to be the UCD Global Incoming International Student Facebook page, the UCD Global website, and then UCD Global also sends out offer holder information packs. But if you have any other additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You've probably received an email from Emily, but it's emily.cassidy@ucd.ie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our student speakers and of course, Dr. Ciaran Heavey. This recording will be available and distributed in a few more days. Thank you.